to My Brain, My Heart, Sports Talk with Mike. How do you like my new setup? I got my Colorado Avalanche jersey right here, 2 main men, and a laptop, which could be better, I'm sorry. No Coronas today, so I'm wearing my Corona hat to keep the beer feeling flowing. Today's more of a serious topic episode, talking about the players whose careers have ended early, whether it be from injuries sustained during play or just unfortunate accidents outside of the sport itself. I mean, Sidney Crosby, he can tell you something about that. He suffered that concussion. It could have been career-ending. He could have went the Eric Lindros route. And Peyton Manning, his neck injuries, you didn't think he was going to come back. But Crosby's back. He's better than ever. Looks like he's going to garner his second MVP. And Peyton Manning finished second only to Adrian Peterson, who put up a phenomenal season anyway. So these guys, they came back. The players that I'm going to be talking about today were not able to come back. Some have tried to make a comeback. Some are still trying to make a comeback. But when it's done, and you know it's time to give up. First player, he's the reason that I've actually brought up this topic anyway. It's Blake Jeffron from the Montreal Canadiens organization. Now, what happened to him in November of 2012 as he was skating into the zone, he received a hip check from the Syracuse's J.P. Cote. Just a brutal hip check. If you have time right now, after this video, go to YouTube, search it up, and you're just going to be in awe of this check. It was just the impact, the aftermath. It was just horrendous. Now he suffered cuts to the face, and as a result, he actually suffered a compressed skull fracture, and that's even with the helmet on. And it's just the injury's horrendous. I can't even imagine what it would feel like. So he's announced that he's going to retire from the NHL, and I wish him all the best, because in the end it's about your health, your safety, and your family, and so he made the right decision on that call. Next up, Eric Lindros. Where would this, there wouldn't be a list of players whose careers ended early without mentioning Eric Lindros. Now, he was 34 when he should have retired. He should have been about 32 when he should have actually retired, but he tried to make comebacks. Rangers, the Maple Leafs, Dallas Stars, that's one of the players that tried to make a comeback, and he shouldn't have. He's went to the Stanley Cup. He's won an MVP. He's won an Olympic gold medal with Team Canada in 2002, and after that is when he should have retired. He suffered 2 concussions. One from 3 or 4 concussions, 2 big ones from Darius Kasparaitis and Scott Stevens. And Eric Lindros is just, he could not swallow his pride. He wanted to show the world what he still had. And when he did play in his comebacks, in the games he did play, he put up impressive numbers. But eventually just injuries would take over. He wasn't the same player. It was, that was a career that he should have swallowed his pride and taken the high road and exited the game. Next up, Steve Moore. He was 25 with the Colorado Avalanche. With him, it was very simple. One night in 2004, February, against the Vancouver Canucks, he blindside hit against the Vancouver Canucks captain Marcus Naslund. Naslund suffered a concussion and a chipped shoulder. There was no suspension, no penalty on the play, nothing. So March 8th of 2004, I believe, is the date. He fought Matt Cook in the first period, a very even draw. Late in the third period, we all know what Todd Bertuzzi did. Grabbed Steve Moore's jersey from the back, sucker punched him, lights out. Steve Moore was knocked out instantly, then continued to collapse on Steve Moore, pushing his head into the ice. He had, let me just double check on how much, 3 fractured neck vertebrae. Now that was a result of a dog pile that ensued and the brawl that happened with this. And Todd Bertuzzi, he received a 20-game suspension, international suspension, loss of pay. But he came back a lot earlier than I would have expected. Gary Bettman cited with just his loss and his remorse and trying to contact Seymour to apologize and the stress that it caused on Todd Bertuzzi's family. What are you talking about, the stress? You could have ended this guy's life and their stress on his family. So Gary Bettman, you made a mistake on that. It should have been a year-long suspension because that was the intent to injure beyond just a fight. There was no reason for that. So that was NHL. Moving on to the NFL, Sean Taylor of the Washington Redskins. He was 24 years old when at his home, burglary ensued. He went to go check it out. He had a machete, but when the intruders, when he embarked upon the intruders, he received a shot in his leg. Someone shot him in his leg, and it actually, from it, his femoral artery was hit, causing a lot of blood loss. Basically, and the horrible thing is that his girlfriend and his daughter were hiding underneath the bed sheets in his bed the whole time. So he was taken to the hospital where he was in a coma, and speculation that he died twice on the table, put in a coma, and the amount of blood loss, he wasn't going to come out of that, and unfortunately he passed away due to the result of a gunshot wound. Next up is David Pollock, and I don't know if a lot of people know who he is. He was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals in the first round, 17th overall. Had a fantastic first season. The very first or second game of the second season, he went for a tackle. And what happened to him? He broke his sixth cervical vertebrae. And from that, it just doesn't paralyze you, but it gives you the symptoms of paralyzation. And to come back from that injury, it was basically no chance of coming back. He attempted, but was not successful. It's just that was one of those career-ending injuries that just happened. Also, just want to bring up the point, I've actually just included the players that careers were cut short in 2000 and onwards. That's kind of more my generation of sports. I mean, I followed sports before that, but I was more of a younger kid, didn't really have couldn't grasp an understanding of what sports was and stuff like that. So that's why I kind of stuck with the players after 2000s. And then the last player in the NFL, let me bring this up, Pat Tillman at the age of 28. He was an incredible football player. After what happened when 9/11 occurred, him and his brother Kevin, who just signed on with the Major League Baseball team, they enlisted in the Army and went over to Afghanistan. Now, during his second deployment, Pat was shot, and it was April 22nd, 2004 when this happened. And basically there was a cover-up that was taking place, and an investigation was put through, and at first they said it was enemy fire, but it turned out to be friendly fire that took his life. Just the intensity of the battle is what led to his death, and that was definitely anytime you like that, you serve this country, and I applaud you and on that. Moving on, Wagner. He was 23 years old. He tried to make a comeback. Another player, just no way was that happening. He was drafted 6th overall in 2002 by the Cleveland Cavaliers. What he had, it's called ulcerative colitis. Basically, it's going to make it difficult for you to, the inside, the poop in, and like your whole that stuff. He had surgery to remove his entire colon to hopefully take away the pain. Recovery, hopefully, like that would work, and unfortunately, it didn't. I tried to make a comeback, and it wasn't going to happen for him, unfortunately. Yao Ming, 30 years old, drafted first overall by the Houston Rockets. He put up 2 or 3 seasons over 20 points per game. All-Star games mostly every year that he was, if not every year, he was voted into the All-Star game. When you're that big, 7'6", you know you're gonna have knee problems and foot problems when you come down on them. The wear and tear it takes, you're going up and down the court. It's just for him, osteomyelitis in his toe, and then he broke his left foot, and then stress fracture in his knee. He broke his knee, and then stress fracture in his leg. Just all that combined. His career was cut short because of numerous amounts of injuries caused on the stature of this man, and he put up impressive numbers in that time span. The last player in the NBA, Brandon Roy. He's 26 years old. He's attempting to make a comeback. He's drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, he is a guy that's trying to come back, and when he's playing, he's great, but he has a degenerative knee disease, and it's basically playing basketball with 70-year-old knees, and at the pace of these 20, 30-year-olds. And I mean, I have knee problems, but it's nothing like that, and I know what mine feel like. So for him to attempt to come back, I applaud you on that. Just it's time for him to call it a career and worry about his health more than his dream. Moving on to Major League Baseball. First, we got Cory Lidle. He was 34 years old. He was actually flying a plane, and he had a co-pilot, flight instructor with him in New York City, where they're just flying one of those private, not a private jet, but one of those private aircrafts, and he was inexperienced within the area because, especially with the weather conditions and the legally where you can fly, when they figured out legally you can't fly this way, they went to make it pretty much a U-turn, but they did it the wrong way. The wind pushed him into a building, killing Cory, as well as the co-pilot, injuring 21, and it was a residential building that he hit into, and his career was cut short because of that. Next is Mark Prior. 25 is when he should have retired. He's tried to make more comebacks than I've ever seen any athlete try to make. I think he signed with San Diego, the Texas Rangers, the New York Yankees, and now March 1st of this year, he signed a contract. I'm pretty sure it's with the Cincinnati Reds. And if it wasn't with Cincinnati, email me at sportstalkwithmike@hotmail.com or comment below. Let me know if it was the Cincinnati Reds or not. I'll know after this video, after I'm done this anyway. But so Mark Prior, one of the most unluckiest pitchers ever. He has tons of skill, he had a lot of talent, speed, strikeout. His record was pretty much proof of what he could do. Amazing strikeout to walk ratio. Like I said, unlucky. Just elbow and shoulder injuries hampered him. Every season he seemed to have some type of injury that was going to keep him out. And that guy, if he comes back and pulls it off, good on you, man. Good on you. But like I said, when it's time to hang up those cleats, it's time. And let's see what happens with Mark Prior. And the last one, it's Nick Adenhart. He was 23. Played for the LA Angels. After making his first start in the MLB for the season, he was with friends driving. He was a passenger when a car went through a red light and careened into his vehicle, where 2 or 3 of the passengers were killed instantly, while himself and another passenger were in a coma. And basically, the next night, he succumbed to his injuries and passed away at the age of 23. The driver had a suspended license, was convicted for 51, he's gone to prison for 51 years because of this, that there's no need for that. No matter where you are, just you gotta take others' safeties into account. So there you have it. There's a couple of players who injuries cut their career short, injuries and deaths. I tried to include some names that you might not have heard of or even knew. Like I said, in the NHL, Blake Jeffron, he's the grandson of Boom Boom Jeffron and the great grandson of Howie Morenz. So you might not have heard about him. He's played most of his time in the minors. Steve Moore, you probably heard of him because of the whole incident. It was huge. Sean Taylor, he was coming up. If you knew NFL, you knew who he was. David Pollock, you probably didn't know who he was. He had a great rookie season. Just drafted first overall. In the first round, 17th overall. And Wagner, 6th pick in the NBA draft. And a lot of players, unless you really your NBA, you probably never heard of him. And the same with Nick Adenhart. Up until that happened, I didn't even know who he was. But now I looked into them, and I know a bit more about them personally and statistically. And these all were destined to have great careers, had great careers, and they were all cut short. So that is today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it of My Brain, My Heart, Sports Talk with Mike. You enjoy your day. I'm trying to, trying to do the shows a little bit earlier in the day, give you guys more time to watch it instead of posting them at night. And there you go. There you have it.